Just gonna wait for some people to come in, and then we'll get going here. Okay, we got some people coming in here. Thank you for joining the stream, guys. Hey, Austin. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. I'm just gonna wait for a couple more people, and then we'll get going here. Hey, LSP Productions. So as we got a couple people in here now, during this live stream, we're going to do some Q&A with me. We're going to be running some trains and then talking about the hobby, and we'll just be doing that in kind of sections. We'll be running trains soon. Hi, bun underscore. But for now, let's just start with some Q&A. If you guys want to ask me some questions, you guys can just start. Hey, Quinn. If you guys have any questions, you can ask them now. This is the part of the live stream where we'll be asking some questions with me. But while I'm waiting for some of the questions to start rolling in, I'll just talk about some stuff that's been going on in the hobby in general. So starting out with some one of the biggest topics is can you right now I cannot. Don't ask for any train requests to be ran at the moment. I did. I posted people, and they told people asked for me to run certain trains, so I already have the setup for the trains that we're going to be running, and I'll be showing you guys what we're going to be running in a little, maybe a little later. But for now, I'm going to be running the trains that I already have in the layout. Here's a question: have you ever considered scratch building any unique unproduced models? Austin, from Austin. Yeah, I definitely thought of that before. One of the, something I've thought of before is, it's kind of a funny one, but scratch building a Thomas tank engine. While Lionel does make a model of it, it's not the most accurate model to what the TV show had, and I've always thought it'd be cool to make something like that. I've also thought of making, or scratch building, a model of the locomotive from the Lionelville movie. That was a very cool engine with 3 smokestacks and a lot of things going on, and I thought that it would be very cool to have someone, or have me, scratch build that model so that I can have a model of it. That would be very cool. Mine from Connor, that rail fan. My Lionel 246 is actually amazing. I bet it is. I actually have a model very similar to that, and it's very cool. Did you happen to order anything from the 2020 Lionel catalog? So it was LSP Productions. I did not. To start off, while I love Lionel and MTH, well, MTH is kind of going away now, but while I love all the big brands today, everything is just super expensive, and it's a lot of just reproduction of things. I feel that I can get the same enjoyment out of older models. For instance, as Quinn has been asking for, this Yellow Belly Hudson, that is from 1995, and I get a lot of enjoyment out of that locomotive. The newest engine that I think I have is from 2005, and that's a Lionel Empire State Express Hudson, and hopefully I'll actually take that back. I have a locomotive from around 2012, a Lionel Legacy Diesel. But other than that, the newest steam engine I have is from 2005. So I feel that there isn't, I don't have a need to buy brand new trains. I actually like to buy the trains that are 5 or 10 or even older, years old, as they're cheaper and they're what I grew up with. I always wanted the trains that I saw when I was younger, and now that I'm older and I have a little more money, I can buy those trains, but I'm not buying the trains that are coming out today. I still love them. Lionel and MTH still produce amazing trains to this day. Austin, you said I scratch built such kit bash New York Central Steam and in HO scale. That's cool. HO scale is a lot more. Well, it's smaller, so it's a lot easier to do stuff. Let's see here. Hello, O Gauge and N Scale Railroad. Connor, the rail fan, said, "Oh, and have you ever watched the Lionelville movie?" Yes, I have watched the Lionelville movie. That's why I want to produce or try to recreate that engine by scratch building it. We got some more people coming in. Thank you all for joining. As I said before, Kevin, you said, Sid, what do you think of Amtrak's ACS 64 Simon Sprinter engine for road gauge? That would be cool. That would definitely be cool. That's not something that you see very often, and I don't think I'm not a big expert on more modern trains, but I don't think MTH or Lionel has made that yet. That would definitely be a cool engine. Can you all hear me fine? If I need to speak up, I can definitely speak louder. Uh, yeah. The GS4 is definitely expensive, LSP Productions, and I get that. Uh, Collins Walker, do you think the lack of competition and high price to entry has negatively affected the hobby? I think in the early 2000s that was a big issue. I think Lionel and NTH, well, Lionel now, is definitely making a lot more low price sets that are still with a lot of quality in them for people in the hobby and wanting to join the hobby. And also, something that people need to understand is you don't have to buy a engine that is brand new or a set that is brand new. You can buy stuff from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and it's still nice. It doesn't have to be, you also don't have to buy sets. It can just be something that's brought together, track, an engine, a couple cars. For instance, here's a Lionel 236 here. This engine is very old, but it is still a nice engine, and it has a whistle tender behind it, and you could buy this and some track and some transformer and have a lot of fun for a lot less. I could probably buy this engine with the whistle tender, track and transformer for maybe just over $100, and for this hobby, that's a pretty that's a decent price for getting the train. But I do think some things are a little expensive, but I definitely think that things are starting to get better. Uh, yeah, things are starting to get better in the hobby with the pricing. I also think that since Lionel might not have as much competition now, they might be able to lower their prices. That sounds kind of strange, but the fact that MTH was their competitor, I think that is why Lionel Prices skyrocketed, is because they wanted to show that they have the number one train. And I think that now, and since MTH is going to either shut down or be bought out by somebody, or the toolings will be bought, I think that the kind of competition is going to fade away, and Lionel will be able to lower their prices. But yeah, then Austin, you asked, my only digital sound equipped O-scale locomotive is an MTH Daylight with Proto Sound. Runs good today. I have two post-war engines and a few marks. Cool. Sounds good. Post-war trains are definitely good. Marks made a lot of cool trains, and then MTH, as always, amazing trains. LSP Productions, that's the only new one I'm buying, the GS4. Yeah, definitely the GS4 is definitely an expensive engine. What else? So RJ's Trains, and also thank you for everyone that's joining in now. RJ's Trains, or it will allow Lionel to raise their prices because that is true. That could happen. Prices because there is no competition, but I feel Lionel will not do that because they are currently not in a super good situation with their pricing and the fact that their quality control at the moment isn't the best. But I think they're slowly improving, and hopefully that does not happen. Bun, do you happen to have a favorite wheel arrangement for a locomotive? That's a good question. I hmm, it's hard to pick that, but my two favorite wheel arrangements are a 464 Hudson type or a Northern type, 484 Northern type. Those are my two favorite, as they are decent size engines and they uh, they just look good. The wheel arrangement looks good under the boilers that were set on top of them. Austin, you were saying old trains are good. I have a 1937 Marks Mercury that still runs. That's cool. It's definitely cool to see really old trains running. Probably the oldest train that I have is probably from either the late 20s, early 30s. That's probably my oldest train. Uh, if you have any more questions, you can keep asking them, and I'll keep going along here. Collins Walker, how has the virus affected you and your family? Let's just try to keep things to more train-related things, but I'll just answer that since it's a big topic in the world right now. I haven't been affected very much. Uh, Luckily, I'm still able to move around and do stuff, and nobody in my family has been sick. Luckily, I hope all you guys are safe, and definitely hope for the best for all of you as this whole virus and everything continues. Hopefully, things will um, be resolved soon. Just try to keep everything train related as we want to keep this everything positive. Let's see here. Is there anything else? Austin, you said something about from 2007. Are you talking about the daylight you had? That's what I assume you're talking about. Let's see here. Austin, your thoughts on the T1 Trust and their phenomenal progress? Oh yeah, the rebuilding of a T1 duplex locomotive, that would be very cool. There is not a lot of Pennsylvania steam left out there, and for them to rebuild an entire locomotive ground up with just nothing to really start with, that's just amazing. And the T1 duplex is one of the coolest engines in my opinion. Um, the Pennsylvania had some really cool engines. Right here is another one of their cool engines, the steam turbine, and it was just there's just a lot of cool engines from them. The T1 duplex would definitely be cool. Uh, okay, yeah, your Dale was from '07. That's cool. Uh, Personally, you were talking about how it was Protosound. Protosound 2 in particular. I really love Protosound 2, as the 3-volt boards are really good. Uh, Al's AGM Trains, hi. Also, for anyone joining now, hello and thanks for joining. Let's see here. Austin, as a New York Central fan, still begging for Hudson. Yeah, but yeah, the T1 Trust is definitely cool. Let's see, from Bun. I've actually seen that in Britain that they've actually had to rebuild several steam locomotives like the Tornado and currently a P2 Mikado under the name of the Prince of Wales. That's cool, but yeah, rebuilding of steam locomotives is something I definitely support. I'm not a big rail fan, or I don't just go out and look at trains and try to get pictures of them, but I definitely think it's cool when there is people trying to keep them alive and keep them running. Let me actually plug in my camera here just so I don't get up there. There we go. Let's see here. I request you run the yellow diesel behind you. Uh, no, for the moment, no requesting of engines to be ran. I already have a lineup ready, so maybe later. But right now, I'm not taking any requests for engines. In your honest opinion, okay? Let's leave everything in the chat train related. Okay, I can speak a little louder. Okay, Strasbourg is working with the Long Island Railroad Museum to rebuild a G5. That is really cool. The G5 is a cool little steam engine. It would definitely be cool to see a G5 rebuilt. Also, if there's any issues with you hearing me, I can definitely speak up and just tell me because I can read it through the chat. Guys, let's keep everything train related. Bun, what restoration of steam locomotives are you looking forward to the most besides the PRT1? Um, I don't know of many others. I think the Western Maryland is restoring 1309, I believe. That would be very cool. I don't know of many others. What else is there? I think there's a restoration of an Allegheny going on, maybe. And there's also the restoration of a C&O Berkshire, which would definitely be cool. And I'm interested to see AGM trains. What is your favorite railroad? It's always hard to pick a favorite, but my top two would probably be the New York Central and the Chesapeake and Ohio B&O CSX chassis system. Those two railroads, those are my favorite. What about PRK4? Oh, I totally forgot. Yeah, it's definitely cool to see a K4 be restored. I actually have a K4 torpedo on the other side of the layout, and we're going to be running that soon. Yeah, it'd definitely be cool to see that. Austin, you said, I want to see Nickel Plate Road 587 run again. That would definitely be cool to see that engine run again, as Lionel made a model of it, and I think NTH might have, and it would definitely be cool to see that engine run. Nickel Plate Road had some very cool steam engines, especially the Nickel Plate Road 765. I do not own a Nickel Plate Road 587. I never had a reason to really buy one, and it's not like a thing on the top of my list. Plus, the sound file is just not that appealing to me. While I love sound files to be realistic in trains, I sometimes like it to be not realistic and have a better sounding whistle than what the factory puts in. From Bun, do you think it would be cool do you think it would be cool when they do the restoration of the K4, they give it a torpedo streamline shrouding? That would be really cool. I don't think they will do that, as that's probably not what that engine had originally. But that would definitely be really cool. Austin, I would kill to see one of the two preserved NYC Mohawks run, but I doubt they ever will. Yeah, I think the one Mohawk at the New York Central Railroad Museum is a L3A, and I have a model of one of those somewhere. Oh, it's up here. Uh, and it would definitely be cool to see that engine run again, or one of those engine runs run again. And I personally feel that all of the New York Central Systems locomotives were just big workhorses. They had a lot of pulling power. They were really big. The Hudsons and the Mohawks and the Niagaras were really big engines, and I definitely think it would be cool for them to have some New York Central steam running again. How would you feel if the Yellow Belly got restored? If the B&O Railroad Museum restored the Chesapeake and Ohio Yellow Belly, I would love it. That's just an amazing engine. It's just sitting, I think, in a shed or maybe even outside now. And that would be a really cool engine to see restored and running again. Bun, I sort of meant that question as if they did a photo charter with the K4 and it sort of wore that. Oh, that would be cool if they could take it on and off, sort of like a shell. That would definitely be cool if they did that for photos and kind of special occasions. Yeah, number 3001 is an L3A. Austin, you said that. Yeah, I have number 3005 up here on my shelf. It would definitely be cool for one of those to be restored. Other than Lionel and MTH, what model train manufacturer do you like the most? Other than Lionel and MTH, I really enjoy Right of Way Industries. They made my Nickel Plate Road Berkshire number 765. They made my Allegheny, and they made my right of Way. Also made what else do I have from them? Oh, they made this mallet here, or mallet as it's supposed to be pronounced. I just say mallet because that's just how I say it. And then they also made my Shay, my number 6 Western Maryland Shay. And then I also have 2 of their transformers. Their transformers are amazing. Uh, they're so powerful, 400 watts, 200 watts per channel. It's just amazing, the power that they have. Uh, but yeah, Right of Way Industries is probably my other favorite. And then my dad also, he collects Kusan. I do it as well, but that's kind of his thing, is collecting Kusan trains, KMT, as they made some kind of neat stuff over the years. But those are my 2 other brands that I like to buy trains from. There's some others, Williams, Third Rail, some others, but Right of Way and Kusan are probably the other 2. Let's see here. What are those tenders in front of the Yellow Belly? Those tenders are. These are. That's funny. Those tenders in front of the Yellow Belly are just some scout tenders that go to some old trains I have. I just had them sitting out. Yeah, Collins, Walker. If Lionel ever released any European engines, would you buy them? Uh, I probably would love to buy them. If I had the money, I would buy them. But the only issue with that is that they're probably going to be expensive, and it would be hard for me to probably pay for them. Lionel technically has made a non-American style locomotive before. That was scale. Back in the 90s, when Richard Kuhn was the owner of Lionel, they made, I forgot what the engine designation was, but it was it a B4 or I don't remember, but it was a brass locomotive that they made. It was for 2-rail operation, and it was not American. I'm pretty sure it was either European or maybe Japanese. I don't quite remember on that one. But yeah, I'd probably try to buy some European scale locomotives from Lionel. Austin, here's a good one. NW 475, high headlight or centered headlight. I love the centered headlight look on just about anything. Uh, hmm. I would actually probably say high headlight, as most of Lionel's models and most trains in general usually had a center mounted headlight, and it's cool to see them on top. But yeah, let's see. What are your thoughts on electric locomotives versus traditional steam? Steam is always better in my opinion. In real life, steam costs a lot of money, and that's why, and it pollutes a lot. That's why lots of people converted to electric in the cities. Like the New York Central system only ran electric in the cities, and then once the trains got out, they then started running um, steam locomotives. But personally, steam is the best in my opinion, but diesels are definitely cool. Like here's a GG1 here, and it's cool with these pantographs. But I love steam more than diesel and electric. Let's see, Gavin Anderson, hi. Uh, would you buy a Chinese engine? Would you buy Chinese engines if Lionel made some? Uh, Maybe. It just depends on the engine. Uh, that's the thing for me. I don't collect any particular thing only. I try to. I have a. There's a lot of variety in my collection, as I don't just collect CSX or just collect steam or just collect electric. I collect a lot of things. So it just depends. Collins Walker. Don't forget about Thomas. He's a European. Oh, yeah. Thomas is also a European engine. uh, Bun. To me, high headlights kind of resemble elegance, mainly because the B&O almost always had their headlights above the smoke box, and their locomotives always looked nice and elegant. Yeah, Austin, the Chinese QJ and SY classes are nice. Not gonna lie. Alpha 333. What's your favorite Lionel Steam engine? That's a that's kind of a hard question to answer. I don't really have a number one favorite locomotive. There's like a kind of a list, top five kind of favorite engines. Probably my top five favorite Lionel locomotives are the Scale Hudson, uh, any of the GS class daylight locomotives, um, and probably some of the post-war Berkshires and uh, Baby Hudsons. So in general, my favorite Lionel engines are the Hudsons and some of the more recent daylight style locomotives from Lionel. What's your favorite CSX train? CSX, they don't really have like a lot of like unique kind of trains. They're all kind of just the same. Sure, diesels are different. They vary depending on like what model. But if I were to say my favorite CSX engine would probably be one of their kind of special paint job engines, like this chassis system engine here. What's your thoughts on an Allegheny remake? If you're talking about models, Lionel and MTH have made the Allegheny many times, so they can keep making them. I already have one. I'm not going to buy another one, but it would definitely be cool for um, a Allegheny to be produced again. Fight from the Dark 777. What do you think is going to be in the new Lionel catalog, or what do you want to see in there? Oh, now that's something that's really cool. Um, as they said on the Train World live stream, it's going to have a lot of Pennsy and New York Central stuff that will be pleasing to people. Uh, what I think is going to be in there is probably some new Pennsylvania Railroad stuff that Lionel has never done before, like say a G5 or I don't know, maybe a Decapod. And then maybe another Hudson for the New York Central guys, and maybe a box cab electric for the New York Central guys. What I want to see is I want to see a New York Central Commodore Vanderbilt. That would be an amazing engine. The streamlining is nice. I have one currently. It's uh, not in the best of shape, but I would love to see a legacy Commodore Vanderbilt with whistle steam and all of the modern electronics. That would be an amazing engine to see. Maybe a New York Central Mercury would be amazing, but that would probably not happen. Uh, just any kind of New York Central Hudson to me is cool to see, and I would love for Lionel or a Lionel to have that in the new catalog. Uh, let me try something. Do something with my camera. There we go. Okay, but yeah, that's what I would want to see in the catalog. Lionel will probably not be able to do this engine, a T1 duplex, as they lost their tooling to that, but maybe they could. That would be cool to see in the new catalog, but definitely New York Central Hudsons is what I want to see in the new catalog. Austin, a follow-up to the question, how about a top 5 NTH steam engines? Oh, again, another good question. With NTH, they have not made a lot of new stuff recently, but they have made a lot of locomotives over the years. So, personally, that on the MCH side, there's definitely a number one, and that is, in my opinion, the Erie Triplex, and that is just a amazing engine. Nobody else makes it. It's just very cool. I have a model of it. It's just a very nice engine. That would be number one. After that comes a lot of the European stuff, as it's very unique, and nobody else really makes it. And then from there, I'd probably say the K4 Torpedo, as again, nobody really makes that. Weaver made one years ago, but there's not a lot of them out there, and yeah, that's probably. And then of course, NTH made the Scale J class here. That's another really cool engine. Sure, Lionel and other brands have made it, but they were one of the first to do it, and that's really cool to me personally. Let's see, Bun. Is it me or does it seem that the most types of steam locomotives preserved as of today are either Berkshires, 060s, Consolidations, or Moguls? Uh, that is kind of true. I think it's because of their size, the fact that they were used a lot on railroads. Uh, they were there was a lot of them, so there was more chances for them to be preserved, and the fact that they did a lot of work allowed for people to want to preserve them. Sure, the Hudsons and the Niagaras did a lot of work, but to most people, they were kind of just like out of style by that point. That there was no reason to keep them. Plus, it's New York. Most of the train action was in the cities, at least in my opinion, and there wasn't a lot of. There was pretty much no steam that wanted to be kept in the city. Austin, a lot of smaller steam preserved because of cheap, and that's definitely why a lot of trains are preserved to this day. Uh, High GFW trains, and yeah, to anybody that just joined, hello. We're doing Q&A right now. If you guys have any more questions, I keep asking them, and I'll talk about some stuff in the hobby in a minute, and then we'll get to running trains. Uh, but yeah, uh, let's see here. Is there any questions I missed up here? Favorite train that ran on the C&O? Probably my favorite locomotives that ran on the C&O were the Yellow Belly and then the Allegheny. The Yellow Belly, just a good looking engine, kind of an iconic look. The Allegheny was just a big articulated steam engine that was just really cool. And I have a model of one from Right Away Industries, as I said before, and it's just really cool. It's just a really cool big engine. It's kind of like the big boy, obviously not as big, but it's just the big engine that the C&O had. Of course, the B&O had the EM1 style articulated engines, but slightly different railroad. Austin, New York Central, unfortunately, was bent on dieselization, like right now, and scrapped all but 4 of their steam locomotives with no hope of preserving the Hudsons. Or yeah, it is definitely sad that they were so hell bent on diesels. Personally, I think the one railroad that did it the best was the Norfolk and Western. They kept it going for so long. They had some amazing engines. And to this day, the most iconic one still exists, the 1218 Class A and the 611 Class J, like the one right here. That's personally the one railroad that did it the best. Well, I believe that the Niagaras were kind of the attempt of the last push to keep steam, so they tried to make them most aluminum. Yeah, they were lightweight enough that 2 grown men could push the tender by themselves. I didn't know that. That's kind of cool. That's interesting that they were that light. Yeah, yeah. If the Niagaras were to have been kept around for a little longer, or come sooner, they would have stayed around for longer. So I see some more people coming in. Thanks for joining. We're doing some Q&A, and I'll then be talking about the hobby, and then we'll be running some trains. You guys can keep asking questions, but I'll talk about some stuff in the hobby. Probably the biggest topic right now is NTH. As we know, at the moment we know that the DCS system and the Proto Sound systems are staying alive. There's going to be a separate company ran by current NTH staff, and that's very cool. And NTH has a lot of trains out on the market, and their boards are kind of known for blowing up and going bad, and there definitely needs to be support for that. And I'm glad, and others are glad, that there is going to be support for their products on the technical side. Of course, the sad part is at the moment nobody has bought the other side of the company, which is the toolings and the production side. Um, Personally, I don't think anybody is. While Mike Wolf trying to say that announcing this is probably kind of a selling strategy, I don't think anybody's going to buy the company, but you never know. I personally think Lionel or Atlas or Menards or just somebody is going to buy the tooling and produce it themselves, and that's kind of the worst case scenario. And even then, the toolings themselves are still produced. Sure, the electronics aren't there, but that's what's going on. And lots of people have been saying it was bankruptcy, and I said that in my video. That's probably not what really happened. As Mike Wolf said, he just wants to retire. He's been in the business for a long time. Joshua Lionel Collin didn't stay with the business forever. Richard Kuhn didn't stay with the business forever. So it makes sense. He just wants to kind of get out of the business and just retire and just enjoy his life. And I understand that, and I think most people should understand that, as running a business is very hard. I see some comments coming here, so let me answer some things. LJ and hi LJL Rail Yard. Can't talk right now. Let's see here. There's a couple questions here. Maverick, are you gonna run the post-war locomotives later on? I actually have most of my post-war stuff tucked away, as I have a lot of it and it kind of takes up space. I'm actually going to be talking about some layout updates in this video, so sadly I will not be running probably any post-war stuff in this video, but I definitely can try and get some stuff out. I may do a running video soon with the post-war stuff. Silly question, but what is a train? The train is a train. There's not much to answer with that question. If you want to go into specifics on that, I'd say just go to Wikipedia. Let's see here. PRR or NYC? My opinion, NYC, New York Central. That's just my opinion. I think they had some really cool engines. So did Pennsylvania Railroad, but for me, it's the New York Central. Top Hat 04. Why are you? Oh yeah, it's actually number 611. I am for anyone that doesn't know and didn't see my post or follow me on Instagram, I am selling my 611 Class J here. I'm selling it just because I have two of them. I have a Williams Class J, and while the Proto Sound model here is nice, I just have no reason to have two of them, so I decided I'm going to sell this one. Down in the description of this live video is my email, so if you want to talk about buying this engine with me, you can definitely do that. Yeah, Austin, you put it like that. The train is one of the coolest things ever. Simple answer. That is. Let's see here. Would you have liked for someone to preserve at least one of C&J's G3, which pulled the Blue Comet Express services? Yes, that would have been cool. The Blue Comet was a very cool train. Lionel made a model years ago, the old standard gauge model, then they made an O gauge one, and then now we have the scale models from NTH and Lionel, and that's it would have been cool for those to have been preserved. They were very pretty trains. It's cool to see trains with a lot of color on them. Most trains are just black, or steam engines are usually black. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just when the train is just completely black, it's just not very interesting. It's cool to see some color like yellow or orange or green. It's definitely cool for that. What's the price of the 611? The 611, I'm selling it for $475 plus shipping. I can deal with you guys a little more, maybe lower on the price some, but if you guys want to talk about that whole deal, just email me. That'll just make it easier. Let's see here. Uh, Brick Productions, I was just talking about that. Yes, I did hear that the owner of MTH is retiring, and I did a whole video on that, so if you want to hear my kind of take on that, you can go watch that video. Plus, the company isn't totally going away. The technology side is staying around here. Uh, Top Hat, do you have a T1 duplex? Yes, I have a T1 duplex. I did a video on it a while back. It's actually outside in this other room on a shelf. Might be able to run that in the video, in this live stream, but maybe a little later. I already have some trains on the layout. But yeah, I have an MTH Protosound 1 T1 duplex. Really good engine. Maverick, if you had a big buck, what model train would you buy? This might shock a lot of you. Uh, while there's all these modern trains that are coming out, and the new trains like the Vision line, they're all really cool. But if I had the money, I would buy a original Lionel 700E Hudson, as it is the granddaddy of all. Uh, that was like the #1 scale model in the 3-rail industry, and that's just an amazing engine. I hope that one day I can get that engine, as it's very expensive. Let's see here. Over the years, with that service has started out with the beautiful blue and yes, yeah, the colors of the Blue Comet are definitely very nice. Let's see here. What odd, unknown, forgotten locomotive would you like to see produced? Are you talking about in a model or in real life? Technically, there is one Blue Comet locomotive left. There is a Camelback that pulled the train when the popularity of the line became less popular. That's cool that there still is a Blue Comet left. But yeah. Do you ever go to Allentown, PA for the train show? Said Top Hat. No, I do not. I definitely should start going to more small shows. I actually went to a small show in Annapolis, Maryland a couple months ago, and it was a lot of fun. Any real-life locomotive to be reproduced as a model for the first time? Let's see here. A real-life locomotive to be reproduced for a model for the first time. It's kind of a hard one because a lot of engines have been produced in this hobby, and I'm not a big model railroading historian, so I don't know a lot of locomotives that haven't been produced. So if there was something that I'd want to be produced, it would probably be a that's a hard one. Let me think about that one. I'll come back to that one. That's kind of a hard question. Oh yeah, most small shows are usually a lot smaller than the TCA shows, but they're still cool. A lot of good people, a lot of great trains. You don't always have to buy a lot, as I should start not buying so much. But yeah. Would you ever get the B&O Cincinnatian, or would you ever like to see a real version of the locomotive be brought back to service? I do think it would be cool for me to get a Cincinnatian. The only one that I know of that is accurate was made by Weaver, and yeah, that would be a cool engine to get. And it would be cool to see it come back in real life, but that will likely not happen, as it wasn't a super popular train, and most people probably don't care very much about it anymore. Simple pick for me, New York Central Mallet 2662. I'm designing one in HO scale for scratch build. That yeah, that's definitely a cool engine. DJ Zogage Trains is definitely into the New York Central system and lots of their trains, and he would probably like that as well. Yeah, there's probably nothing that I know of just off the top of my head that I want to see produced in the hobby that hasn't been, because most of the stuff that I personally want has been produced. So yeah, there's not much. Something that I wish would be redone is the I think it was the Norfolk and Western John Henry by Third Rail. That would be cool to have that engine redone. So, so yeah, we've had a lot of questions here. If you guys can keep asking questions, but I'm gonna start to get things ready to run trains. But here's another question: was there a model you regret not buying? Yeah. If there's a model that I wish I would have bought, that would have been the Lionel Milwaukee Road S30 Northern. That engine has probably, in my opinion, the best whistle on any engine that they've ever made. Uh, sure, there's still some out there on the secondhand market, but I wish I would have bought the first run when it came out years ago. But let me start to get things going here. I'm going to turn on some more power here, and I can also show you some of the stuff that I've done on my layout before we start doing some running of the trains. My current scratch build consolidation is the first model of this class ever known. That's really cool. Do I like the Boston and Maine 3713? I actually don't really know if I don't know of that engine. I might know if I saw it, but at the moment I don't really recognize that. Iron Fox 7, hello. Let's see here. Top Hat. I went to a TCA show and spent 250. 2 months later, I went to a hole in the wall show and spent over 500. See, you don't even have to go to a big show to spend a lot of money. There's a lot of great things at small shows. So, let me turn the cam. Let me switch the camera around. You guys can keep asking questions, and I'll get back to them in a minute or so. But let me turn the camera around here and just show you guys some stuff that's been going on. Okay, here we go. So now I got the camera here, and as you guys can see, the layout's pretty open. There's there's not a lot of stuff on the table like there usually is, and that is because if you guys saw those rope lights turn on, I put in a lower storage level where I can store a lot more trains, and that's the and I put rope lights under here so you can see, and it's definitely nice. It gets stuff off the top of the table here, and it makes my life a lot easier as I don't have to um, move stuff on the table anymore. Uh, Also, the question about if you had the money, would you collect standard gauge? I probably would collect standard gauge if I could. Plus, I also need the space. Something else that happened with my layout is if you look over there, there is no more crossover. That's probably one of my biggest videos, and the crossover with the fast track is gone. In its place, I've just put a set of switches right here for the moment, and I'm pretty sure this is how it's going to stay. That crossover, I was having issues with trains derailing. I tried to move it here on the layout, but things just weren't flat enough. Like stuff was just the switches weren't like sitting well on the table, and it was just a lot of work for something that I don't think I was going to enjoy in the long run. So instead, I've uh, put a set of switches here, and something that I've also brought back that I had before is a reverse loop. This CSX or Western Maryland engine is sitting here on the reverse loop, and that's very handy when I'm trying to do turn trains around. It definitely helps with that, and I'm glad that I brought that back. And then, of course, you might have seen this. This is the beginnings of my turntable and roundhouse. I'm going to build a custom turntable. It's going to be around 36 inches diameter, and it's going to be able to hold my big boy here, as this is the biggest engine I own, and pretty much nothing else in the hobby is longer than this engine. So, yeah, and then I saw a comment here that triplex is awesome. Yeah, this is the MTH triplex that I own. It is definitely a cool engine, and we're going to be running that here in a few minutes. And then it might not look like a lot of actual progress has been made, but of course the table is a lot clearer. The roundhouse and turntable is underway. The track plan is starting to kind of come together. Plus, almost the entire table is level. Before, the table had a lot of humps in it, like on these crossovers here between the old table and new table. They just were not flat. But a lot of that, almost all of it, has been fixed, and I'm moving along with the work, and uh, I'm definitely glad that some work is being done. Do you have any Japanese models? No, I do not have any Japanese models. Um, there's another question here. Would you still buy Lionel if they started making the trains fully out of plastic? Sure, but it would have to be high quality, lots of detail models for me to feel like they're still worth what they're asking. There seems to be no reason why they would make trains out of plastic, but who knows? Uh, Things can change, and yeah. But if you guys wanting me to run some trains now, or if you want me to keep asking questions, I can definitely do that. Yeah, just tell me in the chat, and I can get some trains running, and or I can keep asking questions. Also, for any of you that have just joined or have to leave soon, thanks for joining. Yeah, yes, they would definitely have to lower the price. So I see someone wants me to run some trains, and I assume most of you want me to run some trains. So let me set my camera down here if I can. There we go. I'm gonna just move my computer out of the way in a second, and then I'll be able to get the trains running here. To start out, uh, we're gonna use this. We're gonna run the triplex, and then we're gonna run my GS2 daylight. I just saw a question. Did you use Homosote? There is no Homosote on the table at the moment, but I will be putting Homosote on the table soon, as that is something that you definitely need to reduce the echo and kind of sound of the trains running. Just give me a second here. Good, okay. I'm just checking to make sure everything is all good, and we're going to run some trains here. So, let me turn on the power here. So, but yeah, definitely Homosote is something I will definitely need, and I will definitely be using. Also, for any of you wondering why I'm running these trains today, I had a poll. People wanted steam engines to run, and people told me what trains they wanted. So I'm running some of the popular ones and some of my favorites, because not everything. This is definitely my layout, but I definitely want to allow you guys to run some trains. So I'm definitely in this live stream. I've got a lot of people asking me to run the Yellow Belly, so maybe later I'll be able to run the Yellow Belly. Let me start up the triplex here, and we'll get it running. Am I taking any requests now? Let's run the triplex in the daylight for a little, and then we can maybe take some requests after that. Let me start up the. Let me actually move over to the daylight and run that first.
Dispatch, this is 4410, looking for track. Over. Southern Pacific, 4410. Please stand by for track orders. Over. Roger that. 4410, understand, and waiting for you to get back to us. Over and out. SP Daylight, 4410. You are cleared outbound. You may proceed. Over. Okay, very good. This is 4410. Roger that. Just about all buttoned up here. I'll be rolling in a second or two.
Winston. Thanks for being here. See you later.
Wanted to bring a straight empty car back downhill. Hey, you got your breakfast. Don't worry, Leroy. You'll wait for it.
Yeah, this triplex is a scale model.
Good. That means the boost is already attached to the train car. Hey, let's make a decent full of water before I head back down. Alright, look at that tank bill. Get going. Hey, bring that spout over. Okay, that'll do it.
Maybe I could run the 611.
Hey, remember, the boost is already attached to the train. Pick it up as hard as you normally do. Head back over to the parking lot. You just keep the steam up. I'll take care of the problem. Dispatch, this is 4410. Position here waiting for your light, sir. Over. Southern Pacific, 4410. You are clear ahead. Take the green. Over. 4410. Roger that. Clear to go. Over.
Sure, I can run them a little faster. just saw a quick question here uh, about the MTH batteries. Yeah, the old MTH batteries that are white, they can damage your trains. You can take them out, but I do recommend you still put a battery into them, whether it's a new one or there's a company that makes a thing called a BCR, which is a replacement using capacitors, or a gentleman on the OGR forum named Gunrunner John makes a battery to replace them. I just personally would not recommend it. Lots of the trains don't run without a battery in them. So I'm actually going to switch out the daylight here with that torpedo over there. I actually changed the sound file on this engine slightly, and I just want to show you guys. I want to show you guys how the sound file is slightly different from what it would usually be. So let me move the daylight here. No, I'm just leaving the daylight passenger cars on as I have to move a lot of cars to do that.
Thanks for your help today at the present time. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Go and sign a register book. Out.
Okay, see you guys. Oh yeah, if any of you ever have to leave, thanks for joining, and as always, just check out my channel more, and thanks for supporting me. But yeah, it's as you just said, it's K4 time. So as I said before, this K4 has a slightly different sound file than it normally does. I have this program that a gentleman on the O-Gauge Railroading forum created, and it allows you to change the sound files some. I kept the original whistle and the PFA announcements and all that, but what I changed is the background noise, the steam sounds, and then the chuffing noise. So let me do an extended startup here. Actually, I'll just do the normal startup so you can just hear all that. Oops, wrong train. Okay, let's actually start up the K4 now for the triplex. Okay, let's get going here. Okay, now let's start up the K4. Something that the sound file, changing the sound file also does is gives it more volume. The original sound file was quiet, so I wanted to give this train some more volume. So here's the whistle. This engine has a really nice whistle, and also, as many people know, the MTH trains don't have the bassiest sound, so I added a more bassy chuff. So let me move it out here. I just gotta say, look at all that smoke. These MTH trains have the best smoke units in the world. Look at that. That's just a white cloud. So let's back it up here. I actually see a couple of questions here, so let me just answer these quickly. Okay, is the K4 Lionel? No, this is an MTH K4. Let's see here. Can you run the Union Pacific 80? No, that's actually not my train to begin with, and it doesn't work at the moment. Yeah, as I said before about the train, I regret not buying. It's the Lionel Milwaukee Road S3 Northern, number 261. Oh yeah, I did notice that most of the MTH trains use the 1225 belt. Which train are you talking about when you say that 333 is awesome? I'm just drawing a blank. Okay, so let's, oh, the K4, okay. Okay, yeah. So let's just roll the K4 out here, and then in a couple minutes I'll take some requests for trains to run.
Now departing for New York on track 1, train number 28, to Broadway Limited. Now departing for New York on track 1, train number 28.
Oh, you're talking about a train that a train I don't like having. No, there's no train that I wish I didn't have.
Okay, set it off. I want to blow her down now. Clear? Clear. Take care. See you soon.
So I've run a couple trains now. I ran the triplex, I ran the Elite, and I ran the torpedo. And you guys all seem like you want to run, have some requests to run some trains. So just put in the chat what train you would like me to run, and if I can run it, I'll try and run it. And if I can, I'm sorry. I'll be trying. I'll try to do some more live streams so you can have some of the trains you want run. But just put in the chat just what train you want me to run. I'm just gonna set the camera down here for a minute while I do things while I watch you guys asking for trains to run. And I'll answer some questions. Planning to have a multi-level layout. Sort of. I plan to maybe have some of the outer loop here be raised up off the ground. Can you please run the GG1? Sure, I can put the GG1 on the outer loop. I'll just trade places with the triplex here. Just give me a minute. sure, I can run some right-of-way steam. I'll get my Allegheny out. That's a favorite of many people. Yeah, that is a coal turbine in the background. You asked a question about GFW trains. Good channel. The turns on my layout are 072 and 060. Yeah. So if you guys have any more requests for trains for me to run, I can definitely run those trains. If you guys want to ask any more questions, I can answer more questions. But I'll run some more trains if you want to and ask questions, and then probably wrap it up here in a little. SD40. You talking about that up there? That SD60? Yeah, I have a couple Century Club engines. I have the 726 Berkshire here. Earlier, I ran this Century Club GG1, and then probably one of my channel's best engines is. Let me step outside into my other room here. Is this right here? This is my Empire State Express Hudson. Oh yeah, thanks, Al333. Uh, thanks. My layout dimensions, Reading Railroad fan. The table is roughly the equivalent of 4 or 5 4x8 sheets, and it's kind of in this L shape. You said run the silver NYC Hudson. Okay, just give me a second here. I'll be back in 1 second.
Dispatch, this is NYC 5429. Ready to go. Over. 5429, you are clear to bolt. Over. Copy. Cleared outbound. Over. Here. I am outbound. Over. Roger that. Out.
yeah, personally, I think Rail Sounds 5 is probably the best of them all. I don't have the passenger cars for this engine. So yeah, I see some questions coming here. So let me set the camera down here, and I'll just get my computer plugged back in, then I can answer some more questions here. I'm actually gonna move the Hudson out of the way here. There we go. Sorry for that, guys. I'm just trying to get my camera set back up here. So someone was asking a question. Just give me a second. Okay, here we go. So let me get back to my questions here. Let's see here. Someone said, if you couldn't hear me over all the trains, I said I did not have the passenger cars for that Hudson that we were just running. From Collins Walker, what is the strangest item Lionel ever released in your opinion? Probably the strangest item, being that their model train company was in, I think it was the 60s, and maybe part of the 70s, when they were producing kind of science kits with, like, they made microscopes, they made electronics kits, and stuff like that. That was kind of the strangest stuff they've made, being that they're a train company. That's kind of the weirdest stuff they've made, in my opinion. Yeah, that's probably the weirdest stuff that I've seen. What else here? I see you have the first TMCC B&O, or it's actually a Chesapeake in Ohio. Yeah, number 490 in the passenger cars from '95. Yeah, that's probably that's a really nice set. I got it a long time ago for Christmas, and I think my birthday, and it's just a really nice set. It just shows that even old trains from the '90s are still amazing. Do you ever run conventional locomotives too, or you mainly command? No, I definitely run conventional. That Allegheny, if you didn't see, I was running earlier, was conventional. The MTH Class J that I was running was conventional. Uh, this engine, this engine, and just a bunch of other engines on this wall are conventional. I definitely designed my layout so that the stuff is able to run in both cases. Let me try something here. Oh, silly me. Let me fix something here, and then I'll get back to you guys. Okay, there we go. Just had to fix a connection I had here. Okay, what else do I have here? The Phantom locomotive. Yeah, that's a cool engine. Definitely the Phantom's a good engine. Let me get back here. Okay, here we go. Hi, my computer was doing something weird. Okay, so yeah, I definitely run both command and conventional locomotives. And the K4 torpedo behind me. So if you want to skip back in the live stream, you can definitely watch that run. I'm not going to take it back off the shelf since I already ran it today. Collins Walker. Yeah, like Gilbert. Yeah, Lionel was doing stuff very similar. Ooh, okay, there we go. There was just a disconnection with the camera there. Sorry. Um, but back to that. Yeah, Gilbert and Lionel were making kind of similar things since people weren't interested in trains, as they were more interested in the kind of sciencey space stuff of the time, because that was a big thing at the time, was space, going to space, rockets, aliens, all that stuff. That was the big stuff. Are there any more questions, guys? Oh, uh, what accessories do you like? I like almost all accessories. While my layout's going to be more scale themed, I definitely like operating accessories. Like over here, right here is my operating water tower with the water inside that goes up and down. I like the coal loaders, all that, and all pretty much all of the Lionel accessories. And then the modern stuff, I like some of the coaling tower and some of the scale buildings. Do you have any Marx trains? Yes. My great aunt had a Marx train, and my dad got that, and I have it here under my table. I have. Then we have a couple other Marx trains as well. Going to York? Yes, I will be going to York in the fall, if we have it. That's still up in the air. When collecting trains, do you look for things that interest you or things that are rare? Well, both of those things. I look for things that interest me, and lots of the time, or in some cases, things that I like are rare. Right of way industries did not make a lot of trains, but I like their trains, so their stuff is rare, but I like it as well. So I'm looking for that as well. But yeah, Collins Walker. I've always wondered why you're into trains in general. I'm into trains. I actually discussed this on Sam's Trains podcast. You guys should definitely go check that out. I did a little clip of his video, and I left the link in the description of that video. So definitely go check out Sam's Trains podcast. I was on there with him and Maddie C Trains. But I'm into trains because they're just interesting. I watched Thomas the Tank Engine as a kid, and as always, Thomas the Tank Engine was very interesting. And they were models. They were using real, um, uh, I think, 1 gauge models to produce the old television series. And that interested me. Then I got into the whole Tommy plastic trains and the wooden trains. And then there was Lionel actually had a series of trains in their, I think it was called I always called it Plastic Track. Uh, Lionel made a series of trains very similar to kind of wooden trains, and they were battery operated sometimes. And that's just what got me into trains. My dad had trains when I was a kid, and or no, my dad had a train set as a kid, and then when I was younger, he gave me, or not didn't give me, he just allowed me and my brother to play with that train set, and then that allowed for me to get into the hobby. And then from there, it just goes to where we are now with me having a bunch of model trains. Are those Lehigh Valley switchers old, conventional originals, or newer? Oh, those Lehigh Valley switchers over on the shelf over there are old post-war models, original, just in a unit, and one pull more motor, nothing else, just basic. That's all they are. Good runners. I have 2 of them. Those are kind of like my dad's trains that he likes to run, or I have them. So if he wants to run some of his freight cars, he can pull them with those. But yeah, I've had those for a little while. That's cool. Can you show us your system setup? What do you mean by my system setup? If you guys want to, I assume you're talking about my whole control center, which isn't super complicated, like isn't super fancy in my case. Let me undo my camera here again. Okay, here we go. This is my little control center. I have my big right-of-way uh, transformer up here. I have my cab 1 controllers here. I usually have my legacy and my DCS controller over there. But then under here, my uh, transformer here connects to my TIU here. It runs in and then runs out to the track through the fixed input and output, and then here's my legacy base. At the moment, I don't have my Cab 1 original command base set up, but for now, I just run everything like this. And if I want to run things in command mode, just turn these all the way up. If I want to run things conventional, I just use these and these switches and buttons to activate whistle and bell functions. So yeah, I'm gonna just start to wrap things up here. I definitely thank all of you for joining the stream, and I'll keep answering a couple questions as I start to close out here. Do you clean engines with a feather? Yes, I do dust my engines off. Um, but yeah, and what's your favorite loco in your collection? That's a hard question to answer. As most say, it's probably the one I just bought. But one of my top favorites are usually my Hudsons and some of my other trains. But again, I thank you all for joining in on this stream, uh, and thank you for supporting my channel, as this is my 1,000 subscriber live stream. I thank you all for getting me there, and I hope we can get another 1,000, get to 2,000 one day. Again, thank you for joining. This was a good live stream. Got to talk with all of you, run some trains, and have a good time. Let me look through the chat one more time to answer any last questions, and then I think we'll wrap it up here. Yeah, I've heard about the Thomas models from the show. Yeah, and their condition and how they're in England. But yeah, uh, again, thank you for watching. And one last thing I would like to note is that J class MTH 611 J class you saw earlier is for sale. If you'd like to talk with me about that, you can email me with the email that's in the description of this video. And another engine that I have for sale is this Amtrak GG1 here. So if any of you are interested in buying either of those trains, you can just email me, and the email is in the description of this live stream. And I will be uploading this live stream to the channel if you want to see more of this live stream or find my email. Again, thank you for watching my live stream and getting me to 1,000 subscribers. I'm Sid, and I'll see you next time, guys. Have a good day.